Welcome to Washington, D.C., where today you join me aboard a Cessna Caravan of Southern Airways Express up to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. The journey begins at Washington's Dulles Airport. Originally built to be home of the jet traffic for the D.C. area, the main terminal was designed by famed architect Eero Saarinen, who also designed the TWA terminal at JFK. Today we're not checking in to a flight to Tokyo with ANA or Dubai with Emirates, but our flight will go up to Lancaster on a Southern Airways Cessna Caravan. Yes, that's correct, a Cessna Caravan out of Dulles. The check-in counter for Southern is like any other here at Dulles. After weighing my personal item, they had me step onto the baggage scale as well, and then it's off to security. Despite the intentions of Congress when authorizing Washington International Airport, which later became Washington Dulles Airport, traffic at DCA continues to grow. This means that Dulles sees an increasing role as a transit airport, especially as a hub for United Airlines and as a gateway for the region's international flights. Southern, though, departs from the H gates, tucked up in a way of a corner of the airport that looks like it hasn't changed in a few decades. No fancy lounges or new restaurants, there's just a single gate agent and a door down to a bus. When it's time to board, you aren't walking down a jet bridge. You're escorted down a set of stairs into a shuttle van. This is where the unique experience really kicks in. You get a ground level tour of the Dulles ramp, driving right past the massive international jets that call this place home. You realize just how small the Cessna Caravan is when you're looking up at the belly of a 777 or an A350 taxiing by. Here it is though, our ride up to Lancaster today, the 7-year-old Cessna Caravan. Seats are assigned, and I was lucky enough to get one up front with a great view of the cockpit. The Caravan is certified for single pilot operation, but Southern flies these routes with two. You might be wondering why this flight even exists. Flying 9-seat planes on 30 to 45-minute flights hardly seems profitable, considering I paid $49 for my ticket today. These flights are government subsidized through the Essential Air Service, which is a program that aims to keep communities like Lancaster connected to the National Aviation Network through connections at larger airports like this one at Dulles. For an example, this route has received around $3 million for the past few years to encourage airlines like Southern to fly them without the risk of taking massive financial losses. Taxiing out is a great experience, as the concourse immediately across from the H gates is home to some of the international arrivals here at Dulles. This means you're treated to a view of some of the day's heavies, including this 777 that just landed from Seoul. Let me know what you think of the new Korean livery. Watching the pilots maneuver in the wake of these jets just to taxi out to the runway was certainly entertaining, as was looking out the front windshield to see the lineup of jets in front of us waiting to depart. But not much longer, and it was our turn. After a quick roll and a bumpy takeoff, we were on our way to Lancaster. There's plenty of room to stretch out with only 9 seats on board. The seats are surprisingly comfortable, although the cabin is loud. Not that I'm complaining though, with great views over farm country on our way north. Pretty cool to pass by the whole of Dulles Airport while we climb out, nice and slow. There was a CRJ 550 behind us taking off for State College in Pennsylvania, and by this point in the flight, I'm pretty sure it had already outclimbed and overtaken us. Getting to see the pilots at work is truly a novel experience on a commercial flight. You can see them adjusting autopilot, checking in with ATC, and even having some breakfast on this morning flight. My favorite part was getting to see our route and the Garmin in the cockpit. Our route today took us north out of Dulles before looping over Frederick, Maryland and heading east towards Lancaster. We crossed the Susquehanna as we were making our descent. All in all, it was a pretty beautiful route. So how does this experience compare to a typical regional flight? I would actually rate the cabin as more comfortable than most regional jets. The seats are more comfortable than those you'd find on a CRJ, and you definitely have more space. That being said, the noise and turbulence are definitely drawbacks. The plane is also slower than a jet, so routes any longer than this and it might start to wear on you. With a single engine and unpressurized cabin, we only reach an altitude of around 8,000 feet. This keeps us in the wind, bumping around, but it also gives us those great views, which is perfect because there's not much else to do in the way of entertainment. No Wi-Fi, no seatback TVs, and definitely no bathrooms on these flights. Not that you need them on such short routes, because before you know it, the descent into Lancaster has already begun. We fly over the Susquehanna and into Amish country on our way in. I tried to spot a horse and buggy out the window, but I didn't see any today. The descent into Lancaster is quick. There's no drawn-out approach, we just bank left, line up with the runway, and glide in. Landing a Cessna feels much more connected to the ground than a heavy jet. You feel the crosswinds, you see the pilots, you feel the flare, and then you've landed. Welcome to Lancaster. From the time we left the gate at Dulles to this moment, it's only been about 45 minutes. If I'd have driven this, I'd probably still be in traffic on the DC Beltway. The airport here is small, and about half of it's actually an Italian restaurant. The rest has just enough space for a couple restrooms, the check-in counter, and a small waiting area after security. So, is Southern Airways Express worth it? For $49, you get a flight that feels a bit like an excursion rather than a commute. It's noisy, it's small, and it's a bit old school, but for me, it's easily the most fun way to travel here in the Northeast. If you're a nav geek, this has to be a bucket list flight. If you're a traveler, it's a brilliant shortcut. Thanks for coming along on this journey. I'll see you in the next one.